I think one of the things that interests me in German thought, modern German thought, is a turning point that takes place with, more or less, with the philosophy of Kant. Not that Kant fully participates in the change, but a turning point that takes place there, and a contrast between two different ways of thinking, conceiving of the relations between God and things in the world, things that God has created from a theistic perspective. In the work of Leibniz, and not only of Leibniz and not only in German philosophy, it's something inherited by and large from the Middle Ages, and we find it also in Descartes, for example. We find the idea that all finite things as such are imitations of God. That is, they are the properties of finite things are diminished versions of the perfections of God, so that the relation between, in nature, so to speak, between God and finite things is a relation of likeness, though very imperfect likeness. I sometimes call it a likeness theology. That's not historically the only way of thinking of that relationship, even in the Middle Ages and in other religious traditions too, in Hinduism, for example. There are views that say that God is totally other in relation to us, no likeness. And following Kant, one finds, I think, the no-likeness view emerging into prominence, particularly in thought in the German-speaking world and neighboring areas. And why does this take place in sort of, why is Kant a turning point here? It's because in Kant's philosophy of religion, while he actually shares pretty much Leibniz's conception of God as having the perfections that finite things are imperfect imitations of, and in that respect both Leibniz and Kant think of God as the most real being, Kant also, in his critical philosophy, develops a point of view and argues for it, a point of view according to which we human beings are not able to have much knowledge at all about things in themselves, and God is the prime example of something that is a thing in itself, and indeed only a thing in itself. God is not, for Kant, an object of our experience at all. And so with Kant, there begin a series of ways of trying to understand our cognitive relation to God otherwise than in the very rationalist way in which Leibniz and 17th century philosophers generally conceived of it. And Kant himself leads the way by proposing a faith in God that is based on moral reasoning and the needs of moral reasoning rather than any theoretical proof of God's existence. And other ways were tried out in the 19th century.